Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We're in the finals of the Misty Mountain Spring Cup. I'm Michael Heup. I'm joined now in the booth with Aaron Dix.
Howdy, folks.
How's it going? So, Aaron made the treacherous journey from Minnesota,
Yeah,
drove through all the snow, and got here.
a little bit
And
more treacherous than we thought it was going to be in the morning.
yep, so he's giving BK a break so he can do some store duties. And we're gonna cover this finals match. We've got Sam Black playing his blue Parfait deck, heavy with counter spells, and he's up against Michael Horn, who's playing Gro-A-Tog. So
That's
there,
a heck of a peak.
there were two Gro-A-Togs in this top eight. Both Michael and then his friend already had played against each other. So obviously one of them had to knock each other out, and now he's up against Sam trying to take down Sam for the title of the Spring Cup. I mean, I certainly haven't seen this matchup before because I feel like Gro-A-Tog and also like this variation of Parfait I don't feel like is as popular.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly who's advantaged. Do you have any guesses, or what kind of things stand out in this matchup for you, Aaron?
I mean, I think Parfait has so many answers to this.
Okay.
Right?
But the one thing that's nice is like Michael's like pretty light on permission. But a card like Meddling Mage kind of in some way like a preemptive counterspell. So I do feel like Michael has some tools. Things can go his way. It might be like if you get to the point where Sam's in control, then he's just going to win. But that's kind of true for most of his matchups. And I think at least Michael has a little bit of disruption that could present some problems for Sam.
Yeah. Sam will have to fight through some counter magic here, but I mean, there are so many cards in this Gro-A-Tog list that are going to be dead against Parfait.
Yeah, there are some cards that are kind of devoted to like creatures, just like some
Yeah.
Swords of Plowshares or like Fire Ices that just like don't do the things you want. Even a card like Winter Orb, um, we see
Yeah,
Sam with like the
feels
Mox
bad
Diamond.
here.
Yeah, it like isn't quite as good. So and then as the game goes on, a card like Daze loses its kind of effectiveness. So yeah, the games that it's not like Michael's a fast deck per se. Like it's not like an aggressive combo or aggressive deck. It's kind of looking to win after it closes the door, but like in like turn 8, 9 probably most of the time. And so usually that might be enough time for Sam to kind of set up shop and really get where his deck gets really powerful. So both players have Gush in their list, and we see Michael gushing here. Might be interesting if there's a dynamic to play around land tax. We do see a Winter Warp. I mean, it's
I mean,
funny when you're facing
against
out Undiscovered Paradise, but
That's good here.
yeah. So he does play the island, and so that does give Sam the option to tap the Undiscovered Paradises. He's not using the mana in a turn, but they're going to go back to his hand, so that he's triggering land tax. And that's always one of the tricky things when you play against these Parfait decks is like you don't want to give them those land tax triggers, but it's kind of like, is your deck able to operate at
Yeah.
like this amount of mana? I mean, like at least Michael had two Mox Diamonds, so in theory the game could continue. But like some decks are just like, well, what do I just not cast any spells for the rest of the game? I'm obviously not going to win that way.
Yep. Yeah. And I played Sam earlier, and even my burn deck, I was flooded out, so my only option was to let him trigger land tax to be able to do anything. Everything I had was 3 mana.
Okay.
Just felt pretty bad. It's exactly the way I don't want to play that matchup.
Because you played Sam in the last round of the Swiss, right? You both
Yeah,
had the win in,
Yep.
and so do you? We were kind of talking about the debates of whether like Sam's blue Parfait list is better or worse against Sly than the traditional like Rich Shea, and the one nice thing I think is he might have access to like Blue Elemental Blast or Hydro Blast.
Well, the big thing I noticed is that I can actually play creatures to the board against his
Okay.
version.
Okay.
Not having the oath. I won game 1 on the back of 2 or 3 Jackal Pups.
Okay. And that would have been much more of a liability against like the traditional
Yeah, I don't
oath
think I could.
Parfait.
I don't think I could have played him.
All right, so Michael just kind of
So here you go.
it's all
here's-
Dryad, but Well, not resolving.
We'll see.
That's not the case.
Foil.
Is there a foil back? Looks like
He foiled the counterspell.
all right. So there's a Curian Dryad on the table. That's for the time being. There's a Gush from Salmon. He could be looking for a card like Swords of Plowshares or something. Because if this stays in play, I have to imagine, and if Michael's able to protect it, then things can get out of hand pretty quick. We do see hit the spontaneous generation, so like that also like in certain spots just could make a bunch of blockers
Absolutely.
and buy you some time. But yeah, if this Dryad sticking around, then things don't look so bad. I mean, I guess we do have the Scroll Rack land tax engine online, so that obviously is very powerful. It'll be interesting to see if Sam's kind of waiting, because like at this point you can obviously take some hits from a 1/1, because you might not want to play a Swords of Plowshares right into a counterspell. You might want to say like I'm going to wait to make sure that I have removal spell with counterspell backup from my end before I deploy it, and patience might be really interesting because when we watched the Gro-A-Tog mirror, there was a lot of they held on to their spells a lot,
Yeah.
maybe more than I think a lot of people would, and it was really interesting to see that, and I think the patience paid off for both players. So
It's a big old scroll rack.
yeah, I was saying there was one time where Sam had a gazillion cards in hand, and he just said, "I'll scroll rack for this amount,"
Yeah.
and, like because it was clearly bigger than the amount
Yeah.
of cards in his deck. So
Just demonstrating that you're not going to deck me.
yeah.
If that's what you're playing.
Those the cards in his hand. It's just like, man.
Yeah. So now he's ordering.
Yeah, that's funny. It's like if you don't have a shuffle effect, then you actually have to think about like the order that you put the cards in, and that is kind of a mind-boggling thing. Yeah, usually I'm just like,
Have a shuffle.
yeah. I mean, he does have like a Flooded Strand in his hand, but
You don't like it.
man, I don't even know how to comprehend how to break down like all those cards in hand. I feel like the things to kind of think about is like how aggressive do I want to be in trying to remove this Dryad? And beyond that, I don't know. I don't know what else you really need to do.
It's funny, there's so much permission in this version, but they don't punish you the same way other Parfait decks do. You don't feel like everything you do is the wrong answer.
So I mean I guess a card like Oath of Druids definitely is like if you have
Yeah.
you're not able to play creatures because of that angle, and I guess that probably takes away a big dimension. But
Can't I can't play creatures. I can't play lands.
Mhm.
I can't let you hold on to cards in your hand. I've got to do something so you have to spend some of your answers so that you can't just sit behind your Ivory Tower.
Sure. It's really cold up here. I guess this is on theme for today.
Yeah.
The Winter Orb here in Madison. The Dryad's a little bit bigger though, but Sam goes back up to 20 thanks to the Ivory Tower. So
So, here's the swords.
yeah, and this is probably a spot where there's not even a counterspell on a Michael, so he'll gain a couple of life, but now he's just kind of sitting in a hand where, as time goes, like each of these turns, like,
Absolutely. You see the pieces get put together.
mhm. Yeah, I guess he could play the first land of really no worries. Sam does have an Undiscovered Paradise that he could pick back up, but if Michael goes to a second, this is a scroll rack end of turn.
Dimitri, I love this. I love this matchup. It's like playing a combo deck in reverse. It's always playing Parfait. It's like you're playing. Everybody else is a combo deck. You're trying to put together the pieces that stop them from doing their thing. It's like reverse combo.
Yeah. I will say, when you do play the deck, it is a nice, warm, little fuzzy feeling when you get to that safe spot where you're like, oh, I can't lose.
I've stabilized. I've got you put together these soft locks,
Yeah.
you know, one after another to the point that you have all the pieces in place. You're safe.
And the funny thing is like, because a lot of times they're really light on win conditions, so
Yeah.
the opponent doesn't always concede, and you're like, well, I get to keep playing in this nice position. Yeah.
We were talking about the last match out there, just going like, okay, this one's been over for 20 minutes.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can play as long as you want, but I guess I wasn't seeing the route to victory that Brandon was, and so
yeah,
maybe
I'll never fault anybody.
I mean, it's not like he knows Sam's exact list, so
right.
it's easier to see like when we can see all the cards, but yeah, so.
Well, I mean, the board state was lost.
Yeah. So Michael attempts at a Meddling Mage, but Counterspell will answer that. And Sam just gains 1 life. Got 5 cards in hand.
I think you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of that nice little.
That's what he likes to see.
That little 1-2 punch of being able to gush and then foil.
Yeah.
Sam's perspective?
Yeah.
I mean, there's 2 Togs, 4 Meddling Mage, and 4 Curing Dryads.
Okay.
And we've already seen 2 Meddling Mages down and a Curing Dryad, I think. So.
Yep.
Oh, not quite.
Okay. Here's another.
Dr. Teeth. A little bit scary, I guess.
I mean, if it resolves.
Yeah. That might be the repeating thing we say is like, if it resolves, if it resolves.
If it resolves. Yeah.
And I think a lot of times the answer is going to be no. At least Sam's going to try and say no. Yep, so we do have a Gush. Alright. Yeah, pretty sure this.
So it separates out.
Yep, so it looks like we're an island and a Phyrexian Furnace. Maybe not.
Seems reasonable.
So Psychotog is countered. That is another threat down.
Yep.
And Sam gets to kind of go back to his Ivory Tower and just hang out. Things feel good. Gets to look at a bunch of new cards. And we'll trigger land tax twice. So yeah. I think at this point, like, Sam's just looking for more Mox Diamonds so that he can kind of play mana without, and then probably just play like Undiscovered Paradise. It's nice because you can always just play that land, and if Michael plays another land, then yeah, you're triggering land tax, and if you want to just tap it end of turn, then you can trigger land tax if you need to.
You're putting yourself so far out of reach on lands, and at the same time just filling your hand full of all the answers.
And I mean, gaining some amount of life. I mean, if Michael gets going, he can deal a ton of damage, but because Sam's deck is so good at responding to stuff, that probably won't happen.
Yeah.
So just having this huge cushion of life is just makes it really comfortable for Sam.
Now we see him kind of curating his ideal hand.
Dimitri's asking if this will be Sam's pinnacle of his career.
go ahead and guess not, but we could definitely ask.
It could be the pinnacle for someone, but probably not for the someone of Sam's caliber. We have Seal Cleansing, take out a Mox Diamond. Certainly don't need to get rid of a Winter Orb if there's 2 of them in play.
Right.
Plus, I mean, I guess...
With his 1 island.
Yeah, I was saying, with the 1 land that Sam has anyways, so... Alright,
Yeah.
so concession from Michael, and Sam goes up, game number 1, to the blue Parfait. So things have just been kind of just going Sam's way. Like, he's answered all the threats and kind of gets to that spot, and scroll rack land text, and he'll just do it again, and it's just a recurring theme. I mean, like, that's what the deck does. Like, you answer threats and you shuffle back in your responses, and eventually you just grind them on a card advantage. All right, so you get to look at sideboard, and there is, I mean, I don't even know. There's a couple of disenchants from Michael's perspective.
I mean, you get the red blast.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's 2 of those. Yeah, that's a good card. But even a card like, funny, like Armageddon, it's usually like your heavy hitter all the time. But like,
not against this.
yeah, this is not a list. The Mox Diamond land text deck is.
Bring in the red blast, the disenchant, just to get rid of some of these dead cards.
Yeah, like cards like Swords of Plowshares from Michael's perspective just are very good.
But meanwhile, Sam gets to bring in Engineered Plagues.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you kind of get a 4-for-1 land an Engineered Plague.
Yeah, if you look at it from that
You only
perspective.
have to answer a few threats.
Yeah, I mean, that's not usually the way that I think about it, but I think like the way if you kind of just say, I just need to answer all your threats, Engineered Plague preemptively does do a good job. And you could get multiple in play to, I think you could name, I don't know, is Kyrian Dried a human? The new one?
That's a good question.
It might not be, but. No, just a Dryad. Asking for deck lists. We don't have deck lists up, but they probably will be either up tonight or sometime early tomorrow. And we'll start with the top 8 list. And eventually I think we'll have all the deck lists entered into a spreadsheet, but we don't have them available right now. I mean, all things considered, that game was actually pretty brief.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of that comes down to Michael realizing that he's in a position that he's either extremely unlikely or he just won't win.
It was a courteous scoop, but it was a well-timed scoop. So I think it was a very realistic scoop.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But everyone has the right to play if they want to continue on. And I kind of joked about this before, but I'm like, I think I could be wrong, but I think Sam actually enjoys like when the games like continue playing, because it's like it's kind of fun. Like you get to make these tiny little micro decisions just to like up your percentage 1 little point. And I mean, when you're a very sound technical player, that's kind of rewarding. I mean, so I don't think Sam minds it when someone's like, "Yep, we're going to continue playing. We're going to try and win that 0.01% game." So. All right, we're gonna start with a land a Mox Diamond. Mox Diamond discarding a plains. So Michael goes down to 19. Is this still on the stack? Is this something he might like? Does he have
I believe it's on the stack right now.
Does not. That's actually something that'd be interesting. That'd be a good one to have in this type of matchup. He does have like the reactive, he has like the disenchant. But yeah,
so he does play other lands, so he doesn't even have to bounce his Undiscovered.
Okay. Could, well, I would say he might have Gush, but still got the trigger, yeah. what was that? Oh, Mox Diamond. Well, there's the semifinals had four in each deck because it was two Gro-A-Togs.
Right.
It was the Oath Devourer had four, and Sam has four.
Oh, did the Oath Devourer have
Yeah,
four?
yeah, that list had four. And so then the other decks were
Up to
Gaea,
16.
Rock. Gaea, Rock didn't have any. The Stifle Knot, Blue White Stifle Knot didn't have any. And the Blue Red Tinker, I think it might be. This one did. I think
Okay.
it might be 20. I think five of
Wow.
the decks, which we've not seen that many Mox Diamonds in any tournament that I know of.
I mean, we had a few months where it really felt like the Terrageddon lists were taking off.
That's true. Man, I kind of missed that deck. That's like the good
That was-
guy. That's like the good guy version of the Parfait list. It's like it's kind of this somewhat of a similar thing, but then just kills you like way quicker, and it's like way less oppressive.
I think it was Peter who said in Discord the other day, I use my Mox Diamonds to cast Werebears, not land taxes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny because sometimes the Werebears play with the land taxes,
Right. Yeah.
but in general, I think people are a lot more excited to lose to a thresholded Werebear or a Terravore as compared to a Gaia's Blessing. Alright, so we've assembled Scroll Rack plus land tax. It's Meddling Mage. Do we know what this is naming? Check. I will be right back.
I'm gonna guess swords. I think if it were me, I name swords.
Alright. I heard it was naming Ivory Tower.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I was guessing swords.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised too because I mean we saw the last game and like Michael doesn't know how many copies are in there.
Yeah.
And
But I feel like I'm not afraid of my own swords getting.
yeah. Well, that's even if he has them in the deck. But yeah,
True.
yeah, because it's kind of like I can see like you're naming the Ivory Tower if you're trying to go for a beatdown plan, but then yeah, you leave the ability to swords then, and then you just get rid of the creature. So I think I agree. I think I would be naming the Swords of Plowshares. No, this is not open deck lists.
Yeah.
What-
I think I'm with you, Raphael. I think
Yeah, I
Ivory Tower is probably not my first choice. I've never seen it.
there's swords and there is a gush. Okay, but I think the only way you can protect it here is with a card like foil, which maybe you're willing to use here. There's an opt. Okay, so that'll use the blue
Digging.
mana. Puts that on the bottom. Oh, we'll reorder the graveyard. Sam does have a Phyrexian Furnace in his deck, so
Relevant.
and it's gone. Ooh. What do we name it here? I don't know what you name. Carrion Dryad. Yep, Carrion Dryad. Okay. So what did you play against today?
The round one I played against elves.
Okay.
Took that, then had a feature match for round two against
Blake.
Greater Good.
Yep. Blake on the Greater Good. Yeah.
Lost against Stasis. I have this curse at Misty Mountain where I lose to a blue deck that I never lose to. I just can't seem to beat those pesky blue decks when they come here. Then round four. Gosh. so terrible.
Round 5, you were against Sam.
Yeah, round 5 I played against Sam.
So you would have won round 4. Yep, can't help you. I'm not sure. It might actually. Maybe we have the pairing somewhere here. That's round 5. Round 4, you played against Adam Duco with blue-white Stifle Knot.
Blue-white Stifle Knot, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, beat blue-white Stifle Knot.
Because I mean, traditionally the mono blue Stifle Knot is pretty good against the red decks.
I actually think the mono blue is the one that I have the best chance against for red because they dirtle a little bit more.
Okay.
So they have to dig and look.
So you felt a little bit fortunate to maybe get the win against the blue-white Stifle Knot?
Yeah, I was lucky. I mean, Mage always feels so bad against red decks.
Ryan poking fun at Aaron in the chat. So
no, I just said I lost today.
Yeah. Yeah, we do have a lot of stasis. I feel like every time we come here, there's. I don't know how many we had today. I think it was.
Well, I lost the stasis, then he dropped, and I was gonna.
So you played Adrian.
I played Adrian.
Okay.
And he screwed up my my winning in.
Okay.
I had a good match for my winning in, but then his drop put me up against Sam.
All right. Interesting. So
I was gonna play against my buddy John for the winning in, so one of us was gonna make it, and I had to play against Sam, and we both lost.
So John was playing goblins, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because last time he played Parfait, right?
Yeah.
And he made top 8.
Yeah.
So
he played my Parfait list that I audibled out of the morning of. He'd never played it before.
Do you know him switching to goblins this week? Was that a metagame, or does he just want to play something different?
He didn't want to play Parfait after driving
for
4 hours.
That's a fair reasonable thing to decide. All right, back in this game, we got a red elemental blast destroying a meddling mage. But
trading answer for answer.
And problem is, I feel like it's so hard for Michael just to kind of keep that threat on the board. He's pretty light on permission, and Sam's kind of in that spot where he just sees a ton of cards. And I mean, I guess
starting to come together again.
The Ivory Tower is in play. We didn't note that, but
I mean, when you're at 20 life, the Ivory Tower is in this matchup just kind of becomes second.
Keep your voice down a little bit. They can hear you.
Okay.
Sorry.
We can just talk more about the cards that are in play.
Absolutely.
Yep. So Meddling Mage is on the stack, and Sam has foil because that indicates that he doesn't have a counterspell. And then a Dryad comes down right after that. That might have been a sequence that maybe Michael was trying to like say, I'd rather have the Dryad. But a Swords of Plowshares is ready for the Dryad. So maybe there's something, because there's a Gush. Nope,
removed.
Gets an extra life. Thanks to the counter that goes in the Dryad. But yeah. And again, another threat answered. So things don't look particularly good from Michael's perspective.
This is what he's trying to avoid.
So when you come to these tournaments, you've been to, I think, 4 of these now in Madison. Do you kind of tell everyone, like, okay, from the past tournaments, like, these are the decks that people have played? Because I feel like there's like almost an overrepresentation of stasis.
Yeah.
Blue-white has been pretty popular a lot of time.
In general, I think the metagame here skews fairly blue.
Okay.
So, and there's a lot of high skill players playing high skill ceiling decks.
Does that impact card choices like sideboard or even like what deck you play?
Yeah. I tend to play more. Obviously I'm a big fan of the red decks, so I tend to play more blasts. I tend to play more Price of Progress. There's a lot more non-basics in some of these convoluted combo decks.
So you're back on Sly. I don't know if I asked you this when you were on camera. Was that a decision that you feel like it's more well positioned in the metagame, or is it just something that you're just kind of looking to change it up and go back to things that you're comfortable with?
No, I just hadn't played the Scourge Altered stuff
Okay.
yet. I
All right.
didn't really wanted to play. You know,
The mountains were calling you, and your new cards.
exactly. I had to.
Yeah, so
Had to sooner or later.
Sam gets the scroll rack. He does get to keep a card. He does keep one card in his hand, so he liked that one, and then the rest will go back before we shuffle those away with the land tax. Yeah, he
Land tax for him.
puts it right on top. All right, these are the cards I'm getting. Nice little shortcut to keep things moving. So
I will say, neither of these players are dirtling. They're both playing the game. Nothing is a long drawn out decision. They're playing very well.
yeah, and I mean
And
like
very quickly and
it can get overwhelming anytime you're playing the Parfait because like the amount of permutations are like they're in the gazillions or whatever. Like
yeah,
with the scroll rack and land text, like things getting shuffled away, like you can do. There's so many micro
and
decisions,
blessing.
and sometimes I think it just as a player, it's just like if you understand the vision, like these are the things that are matter. I'm gonna like kind of do these things and not worry about these tiny little things and let those bog you down. I think overall that's probably um, gonna help you out because you're not gonna get like mentally strained from like thinking about should I order like the fifth to last card of my scroll rack as this card or this card when it doesn't really matter. Um, so yeah, Michael is from Iowa. He also came with Artie, so they were both playing Gro-A-Tog and they played in the semifinals. Or is it quarters? The quarters. They played in the quarters.
Yeah. Really, really fun match to watch.
Yeah.
Again, trading answer for answer.
Red. It's Red Elemental Blast. His
Correct.
name, right?
Yep,
With
the
the
mage.
Meddling Mage. So clock is in play. Down has commenced at 17. A Sylvan Library is added. It's always nice. You can, especially with Ivory Tower in play, you're like, I can I can pay for life like real liberally. I'm gonna gain that life back.
Yeah, sitting at 30, you're pretty comfortable.
So Raph is saying he's like the original Parfait creator. Says I usually care for the top two cards when you scroll rack, and then the rest is usually lands. So
Yep.
I'm sure he is probably in the
He's
1%
played this
of
one
like
twice.
the
There's the handshake.
Yep. All right. So there we go. So Sam Black and his blue Parfait list is able to take down the tournament here at Misty Mountains in the Spring Cup. Defeated Michael Horn with the Gro-A-Tog list. So yeah, well done. Just felt like he would get in positions where it just turns that corner and it's kind of like it's going to take a while, but everything is locked up.
Yep.
And the blue Parfait deck looked really good pretty much every time we saw it on camera. And so, yeah, really well done by Sam. We'll see if I might be able to get him back here and just ask him a few questions. Chat, if you want to type in some things, if you want to ask Sam in preparation, he's going to get his deck ready. If you have anything quick for Aaron before he heads out, or is there anything else that you want to talk about quick?
No, I just want to give a quick shout out to everybody at Misty, the event staff, and all the players that make this such a great place to play. It really, if you haven't been here, you need to make it out. This is really great high-level Magic in a really, really fun environment. Everybody plays very well and very friendly.
All right. Well, thanks for jumping in the booth with me.
Absolutely.
It was good to see you again. And so, I don't know if you're still up for dinner, but
Yeah.
I'm interested in doing that after we wrap up the stream. So
Definitely.
I'm gonna go talk to Sam real quick, see if we can get him back here. We'll be back just a moment. Sam, are you interested in chatting on stream?
ready.
All right, we just got a confirmation. Sam will be heading back here. So let's switch things over to here once he gets back here. And yeah, let me know, chat, if there are any questions you have for Sam. But we'll kind of just summarize his tournament and kind of his thoughts on Premodern. Coming back here. Yep, we're ready for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
First I want to talk about kind of when and how you play Premodern, because I know the times that I've seen you, it's usually at this tournament, and you usually have some kind of this Parfait. Originally it was closer to like a band control list.
No.
No?
I've always played exactly this.
Oh, okay. Okay. I guess I was thinking it felt.
I mean, so I added Gush at some
Okay.
point because I didn't have Gush and Foil at the beginning.
Okay.
I added Foil because basically I only play Premodern in nearby tournaments, basically. I guess I've played here a little bit, like during weekdays or whatever. So my first event here was like purely theory crafted, and I lost some fast combo decks.
Sure.
And so I added 4 Annuls to my sideboard and foils to my main deck. And then there was like a tournament up north a bit that I lost in the top 4, and I lost in the Swiss and top 4 to Rock.
Okay.
So then I added Gushes, so that I would have like raw card advantage as like my plan against that matchup.
Okay.
And then I played almost exactly this at the last tournament here, and lost to some things, but felt good about my deck. Somewhere along the line, the other part of my plan against Rock was adding Meddling Mage to the board.
Okay. Against the Rocks, are you?
So you named
Deed.
and
Okay.
then
I guess
can't
I mean
do
that card's like really good against you anyways, so yeah.
And it's also like, because I'm creatureless game 1,
They
like,
take it
usually
down,
they
yeah.
have no way to get Meddling Mage off the board.
That's fair.
And so then
I mean that almost seems like kind of like your plan in a lot of the matchups that.
I bring Meddling Mage in against almost everyone.
Yeah.
It's so good.
There are certain decks that like when it's good, it is just like probably your best card.
Yeah.
And especially it creates that tension of like they have removal spells in the game 1, they're most likely taking over game 2, and if you go to a game 3, they're guessing, they're not sure kind of thing. So
Right. Yeah. So Meddling Mage has been like all of the changes I've made to the deck over time have been massive improvements. Meddling Mage might have been the biggest.
Okay.
And then I think so last tournament I lost to Stifle Knot, which I think is a pretty good matchup after I have Meddling Mage in, which I did. I just like they drew well.
So are you always naming like Phyrexian Dreadnought?
Yeah.
In those spots? Because was there one time where you played against Lester where you named Meddling Mage with your Meddling Mage?
Yeah, that was like late in the game when I had like a bunch of Annuls
sure.
to Plows.
Okay.
And Annul and Plow don't answer his Meddling Mage, but do answer his Dreadnoughts. But I mean, sometimes they're like mono blue, they don't have Meddling Mage, you're using Dreadnought.
Yeah. Then the deck just kind of dissolves to they have to like phase out your Meddling Mage to like
you
resolve
can't
it.
actually do that. It's phase out an artifact you control.
Oh no, there's like Reality Ripple is like a 1-of in the mono blue list.
Oh,
And
okay.
that one
Sometimes
can
they
target
have
a creature.
seal of removals.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah, they have to do something like
but
that.
they're drawing very
Yeah.
very thin.
It gives me a lot of time, and time is obviously it favors me against most decks.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I've been really happy with my list and increasingly happy as I make little changes. And then I think my last tournament was like some bad luck against Dreadnought and some amount of just like format familiarity. Like there are still some like weird combo decks that like
Sure.
I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
And once I have like played against them once and seen what they're doing and like know what to Meddling Mage and what to counter and stuff,
Yeah.
then it's just like, okay, this is way easier.
Yeah, like it's a lot of, yeah, when it's unknown, it's kind of,
Yeah, like I would feel like appreciably more likely to win if this tournament were open decklist.
okay.
But that, I mean, you know, the more I play the format, the closer it gets to approximating
Yep.
that. But like I played against the Phyrexian Tower
Yep.
deck in top 8, and he cast Tinker, and I'm like, well, I don't know what your deck does or what you're gonna tinker for.
That was in the top 8, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there really was anything you could get. Like,
No,
I was thinking,
it was game 1. So
Oh, okay,
you saw
okay.
game 2 when
game
I
two,
had him
yeah.
locked out with the Engineered Plagues.
yeah.
Because game 1 I saw his whole deck and
Okay.
knew what was going on because he had Oaths in his main deck.
Yeah.
And like at some point I like made 13 Saprolings and let him Oath
Yeah.
when I had
He had
Humility.
3 also. He's like trigger, like
Right, yeah, he had 3 Oaths. I had Humility, and so I made 13 guys and let him put a couple of 1/1s into play. But early on, he's like Tinker, and I'm like, well, I mean, I have Seal of Removal or Seal of Cleansing in play, and like a couple of counterspells in my hand. I don't know what you could possibly get that matters. So I guess I want to see what your deck does. I'll let Tinker resolve. And he gets Devourer, and I'm like, okay. And then he just like starts exiling some stuff and flings it at me, and I'm like, okay, counter the fling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just going to the chat. So some Adrian asked, what happened to you in the black-white matchup you lost in either round 3 or 4?
Duress and Hypnotic Spectre.
Okay, so get rid of like a Swords of Plowshares and then just kind of ride that to victory. Someone said, do you agree with BK in saying that land tax is too good for Premodern?
I think that this deck is better than the other decks. I don't know if it's better for the format to ban tax, diamond, or Enlightened Tutor.
Okay, because there was a point where land tax was banned and it became unbanned, and but none of those other cards have not been banned. So why counterspells over Oath? Is the creature matchups worse?
Swords to Plowshares is legal in this format, so I think creatures are unplayable.
Sure.
And
And in general, like the creatures are not very impressive to begin with. So
yeah, so like
you basically either have to like flood the board like a tribal deck, like with like goblins or elves.
yeah, like basically Oath arguably gives you a slightly better matchup against like a few aggro creature decks that I don't think are very good, and Counterspell gives you a better matchup against every control and combo deck, and often it's like gives you like 90% matchup or whatever to have it. Like my deck against like the Oath version of my deck, it's essentially impossible for me to lose the matchup.
Okay.
It's also like playing a deck that draws a million cards and has really great good answers to things is coherent and fun, whereas playing like a prison deck that hopes your tools line up well against your opponent, this does not sound appealing to me.
Okay. Someone had asked, I'm curious to know if there are any cards Sam thought would be useful and ended up not being used at all.
I've played this deck a bunch.
I-
The cards that I don't use have stopped being.
So this is the X iteration, and you're pretty
Yeah.
comfortable with the list. So, are there bad matchups you ended up winning today? Is there any counterplay in the sideboard that you haven't seen so far? I think they're saying like, are there things that people can sideboard against like a strategy like you that would kind of make you worry?
So, I found blue-white standstill with replenish to be a difficult matchup. I didn't play against that today. I don't think it's believed to be a good deck in the format.
It's definitely trending down.
Right.
Like
But it does like line up well against me if they have like a bunch of Seal of Cleansings, and then they can like play standstill and then like get to the point where they can force through a replenish, and then I just like lose on the spot. don't feel like any of my opponents today were favored against me.
Well, that's gotta be a good feeling.
I think my deck is really good.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that I think like the decks that I think are close are like elves and goblins, acknowledging that I am giving up some percentage against them by not playing Oath. But I mean, I have like 2 plagues in my sideboard, in addition to like Wrath, Humility, and Swords and foils and stuff. And I think those matchups are both like I don't think I'm particularly disadvantaged in them. They're just like decks that can beat me. I don't know. I mean, I've like run into people who just like have like Premodern decks on them, and I'm like, play the deck that's going to beat me. And
Sure.
They just don't.
Yeah. And then someone asks, what do you enjoy most playing the blue Parfait?
I mean, it's just like you have so many options and like a lot of choices, and it has kind of the like Lantern feel where you just like figure out what your opponent's outs are and have like a lot of decisions to just like choke them out to the point where it's just like, okay, I've identified like your hypothetical out, I guess, and now I have removed it, and now we can keep doing this as long as you want to, but like the game is over.
That like that description just makes me think of like kind of what happened in your when you played against Brandon against the Oath of Bar. Like the game went really long, you had it locked up for a really long time, and I've been like, maybe there's like 1/10 of a percent.
So I at some point in the game I asked him like, can you win? Like, why are we doing this? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And so it turns out he boarded in like 7 or 8 red blasts against me. And so he was thinking like, oh, if I just like have like a meaningful threat and stack my hand full of red blasts, I can force something through. Because he hadn't seen Counterspell yet, because I hadn't needed to use it. He thought I was only on foils. And so he thought like, oh,
your permission
can
suite
only
was
possibly foil so many things in a turn.
Yeah.
But I was like, sculpting like every turn I was passing with like gush, foil, counterspell, annul. And it's just like, I don't understand how you think you're gonna get through this.
Yeah. I always said like I might have said it on stream a couple times, so I'm like, I had the perception that you really enjoy like that type of game where you're like, I can't lose. Like, if I do everything right, like, there's no way for me to lose. I'm fine with continuing playing. Like, I'm happy to oblige if you want to keep playing. I like these type of situations. And then I also thought, because you were talking on Twitter, how you said that you made the claim, not that I'm disagreeing, that you've probably played the most Magic, possibly more than anyone else in the world. And I'm like, well, go like with these long matches, at least
specifically paper Magic, by the way. There are some people
I did think that, and I'm like, and then I reread it, and you did specifically say paper Magic. So but yeah,
very big difference.
But playing Parfait, I guess tonight helps a little bit, maybe more than your normal.
Yeah, that's true. You have to take into account that a lot of the tournaments that I play as much Magic as you can in the tournament.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll just check real quick if there's anything else. Someone says any consideration for siding in the Oath combo. So
no, my sideboard's really good, and it takes up a ton of space.
Okay, and yeah, I think that really answers everything. So I think Chad had some interesting questions, but yeah, I want to thank you for coming in. Congratulations. It's interesting to see like the evolution, because there is kind of like the different Oath lists, but I think the things that you say like make a lot of sense. I think the other Oath list is very good, but yeah, the blue permission gives you a lot of play against decks that the other list might struggle.
Yeah, the thing that's been most fun for me in this format is actually the same thing that I'm currently enjoying in CDH, where I'm playing like my own deck that's different from what other people are doing, and every time I play it, I like tune a couple of cards and like meaningfully level up, and it's like I just feel like I'm getting further and further ahead of the field in a way that's like very fun and very interesting and like very satisfying. Where it's just like, okay, this was like a meaningful level up, which like I think that like early like low experience tournament players I think are very likely to have like meaningful level ups when they enter tournaments and stuff, whereas like I've played enough Magic generally that it's hard for me to be like, oh, I learned this really important thing this tournament. But in the context of building something new that I don't get to test a lot and then like get to iterate on from my experience playing it live, kind of like draws out the like iteration process that like happens rapidly in like PT testing or playing online or something like that, in a way that like keeps the format really fun for me for a long time.
So it's a much smaller scope of level up because it's just specific to like this deck, but
Right, but
still a rewarding.
But it's still,
experience.
it's still, because I'm playing the deck again, and it's like such a big upgrade. It's like, oh, now I'm really looking forward to the next tournament where I get to like play this leveled up version when I already thought I had a good version.
Great. Is there anything that you would change in your 75 right now?
Nope, I won. It's perfect.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, so like my last change. So I tried when I went like really far to try to beat Rock. I added Karmic Justice
sure.
to my sideboard, because then I'm like, well, Deed is the card that I'm worried about. So if I just get that, then like they can't really deed me because I just blow up all of their cards. But then I remembered, oh wait, they're like discard. This is an attrition matchup. I'm cutting my Enlightened Tutors. There's no reason to have this bullet in my board here. And so then like I added second plague in that spot. It was very nice to have the two plagues against the goblins and the Phyrexians, which was not the expected use for that. But
though I'm sure he's played against like the Devourer is notorious for being weak to like sideboard cards, and I'm sure he's played against that enough. So
yeah, but there was nothing I was unhappy with this time. I think I need to like lose to like overreact to like basically like. I don't know, the playing in like a small local metagame like this, it kind of feels like the thing to do is be results oriented, whereas like, well, what in this field can beat me, and then when something beats me, be like, okay, how do I make that not happen again?
Sure.
And so probably just run it back as is and wait for someone to prove that I need something else.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's a challenge to everyone else who wants to come out. Where our next tournament is July 1st. We have the Premodern Midwest Championship, so hopefully we'll get to see you and you'll be able to try and defend.
Yeah, I mean, I almost wasn't at this one.
Yep.
The snow prevented my previous plan and resulted in attending this. I do really like playing these. I hope the next one lines up, but I'm not sure if there's like a conflict then.
Okay. Question just came in. Where does Premodern rank among your casual formats that you enjoy?
At this exact moment, I would say it is third.
Okay.
After Commander Cube and CDH.
Okay. I think they're just you're in a Premodern. I think they wanted you to say it's number one, but I think it's good for you to be honest.
I mean, like,
there's no reason that you have to.
It's just about like the reason is that I'm still like meaningfully iterating on my CDH deck, whereas I'm like in a place where I'm pretty happy with this one, and so like those like level up moments that are really like what I'm really drawn to have slowed down.
Okay,
and that's why I said at this exact moment.
Sure. All right. I wasn't trying to criticize.
Yeah.
Someone asked about your list. We will have lists up. They're going to be on the Premodern Facebook page, and they should be up to TC decks in the near future. But we don't have it like that typed out list right now. And so someone asked if now that you've won, are you willing to try different decks? And I think you kind of said that you're just going to play the same deck until someone can prove that they can beat you.
Yeah, I mean, there is like another deck that I'm curious about, but I'm pretty sure it's worse. So I think it's like my backup plan if they ban something.
Okay. Someone just mentions like zombie bombardment, which is funny. Like I do think of whenever I hear that deck, I think of you. So,
right, well, for obvious reasons.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for jumping in the booth and answering questions, getting inside your brain. It's always interesting, like because obviously you're a very well renowned like deck builder and player, and it's cool to see kind of like your take because a lot of the people have been in the Premodern space in a different way that where you're kind of like more of a competitive player that has just approached it from kind of like I don't know if surgical is the right way, but like I'm just gonna like
right. Well, I mean, it's all my own theory
Yeah,
crafting
yeah.
as opposed to like whatever like has been happening in the community or whatever, I've ignored that. I'm just like, well, these cards look good to me.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's definitely kind of like that outsider take or whatever.
All right. Well, that's all I have right now. But thanks again for answer questions, and congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll hopefully see you at the next event.
Yeah, I hope so too.
All right. We will wrap things up. So I will just jump over to this ending stream. I want to thank everyone who came out to watch. I will quick plug our GoFundMe for Amila. That is Tom Matelski's daughter. She is having spinal surgery. So if you have any interest, I would check out that GoFundMe to support her. But I want to thank everyone who's able to tune in and watch. Thanks for growing this community. Hope you had fun and enjoyed the stream. But until next time, take care, and we will see you at the next event. Bye.